In this video, we will discuss about the event of fertilization in case of human being. First of all, we should know what is fertilization. So simply we can say it is the fusion of the haploid male gamete with the haploid female gamete to form the diploid zygote. This is the definition of fertilization. Now the next question which came to our mind is what is the type of the fertilization which takes place in case of human being. So here our answer is internal fertilization. Human being which includes which is a part of the mammal. So simply we can say that mammals including the human beings, they are the example of internal fertilization and internal development. So here the fertilization takes place inside the body as well as the further development, the implantation and the rest of the embryonic development takes place inside the female, in the body of the female organism. So this is the answer of the first question, internal fertilization. Now the next question is what is the site of fertilization? So the answer of that question is the ampulla of the fallopian tube, or we can say the ampulla of the oviduct of female reproductive part. So the event of the fertilization takes place in the ampulla region of the fallopian tube. Now, as we have seen, fertilization is the fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete to form zygote, but it is not so simple as we have written the definition. Rather, it includes a number of steps. So here in this video, we will discuss about the different steps which are there in the process of fertilization. So, I am discussing the step. The first step is arrival of sperm. In this step, we will discuss how the sperm reaches to the fallopian tube, ampulla region of the fallopian tube, where it come in contact with the female gamete, that is the ovum, for the process of fertilization. Now, here we have to deal that during copulation, when the male ejaculate the semen during the single ejaculate, ejaculate 3 to 4 milliliter of semen is deposited by the phenomenon known as insemination. That means we can say that during copulation, the male individual releases the semen, which is nearly 3 to 4 milliliter, which consists of 3 to 4 milliliter of semen, and this semen consists of 200 to 300 millions sperm. So the single ejaculate consists of 200 to 300 million sperms. Now the question is why the number of the male gamete is so higher. In case of plants also we have seen that the number of the male gamete produced is very much higher in comparison to the female gamete. Similarly, in case of human being we have seen that the number of the gamete or the sperm is 200 to 300 millions. Now we will get the answer of this question here. Before that, we have to know how the sperm reaches to the fallopian tube and what are the barriers or resistance which prevent the movement of the sperm. So first we will try to find out what are the materials which helps the sperm to move. So what are the factors which helps the sperm in its movement? The first factor which helps the sperm to move is the lashing movement of tail of the sperm. We have already discussed that the function of the tail of the sperm is to provide motility to the sperm so that it can move. The second factor which helps the sperm in its movement is the prostaglandins. These prostaglandins, these are the chemicals which are released by the female genitalia. So the prostaglandins, which are the chemicals released by the female genital tract, they also favors the movement of the sperm from the vaginal region towards the fallopian tube, where it has to fertilize the egg or the ovum. The third important factor which helps the sperm to move is the contraction of uterine wall. Contraction of the uterine wall. Now here what happens when the sperm enters into the female genitalia, the membrane or the lining of the uterus, it contracts, but here the contraction takes place in the reverse direction, so that the movement of the sperm takes place in the upward direction and it will reach from the uterus region to the fallopian tube. So here the peristaltic movement takes place, the contraction of the lining of the uterus takes place, but here the movement will take place in the reverse direction, that means in the upward direction. So these are the three important factors which help in the movement of the sperm into the female genitalia so that it can reach up to the ampulla region. Now, what are the barriers? Here we will discuss about barriers or the resistance for sperm. What are the barriers which prevents the movement of the sperm into the female genitalia? The first barrier that we have to discuss is the thick lining of endometrium lining of the uterine wall. The thick lining of the endometrium of the uterus. We have already discussed that during the ovulation, which takes place at the mid of the menstrual cycle, that means nearly the 14th day of the menstrual cycle, at that time we have observed that the uterine wall becomes thickened. So if it is the uterine wall and if it has become thickened, because of this what had happened, the thickening of the uterine wall has taken place. So here the lumen becomes narrower and it will provide hindrance for the male gamete to move through this region. So this is the first factor which provides the hindrance. Second factor here that we have to discuss is the chemical barrier. Chemical barrier, or in the female genitalia or the female reproductive tract, the acidic medium is there. So acidic pH is there, and this acidic medium degenerate most of the sperm, and hence the number of the sperm goes to be decreased. So it also creates the hindrance. The sperms are unable to move through the acidic medium. And the third factor which creates the barrier is the phagocytes. Phagocytes. phagocytes present in female reproductive tract. Phagocytes, these are the leukocytes which are phagocytic in nature. So in the female genitalia or the female reproductive tract, the presence of the leukocytes are there which are phagocytic in nature. So these phagocytes, they engulfs most of the sperms which passes through it. So as a result of these, we have seen some of the factors they are helping the sperm to move, whereas there are some of the factors which prevents the movement of the sperm. And as a result of this, out of these 200 to 300 million sperms, only 100 sperms are able to reach to the ampulla region for the event of fertilization. And what is the rate at which these sperms move? The rate of movement of sperm is 1.5 to 3 millimeter per minute. So it is 1.5 to 3 milliliter per minute. So this is about the movement of the sperm. So hence we have discussed that the number of the sperm deposited is very much higher, but only very lesser amount of sperms are able to reach up to the ampulla region. First question. So now we can imagine that if the number of the sperms released are lesser than that, then how much sperms are able to reach up to ampulla? Hence we get the answer why the number of the male gamete produced is very much higher. Now, as the sperm reaches up to ampulla, then it has to fertilize the egg. So during these events, the movement of the sperm, some other changes also takes place in the male gamete, that is the sperm. Now, the changes which takes place in the sperm is that we have to discuss here is capacitance, which is known as capacitance. Now, first of all, we should know what is capacitance. We have already discussed that the sperm that is having the different parts, and it is also surrounded by the membrane around it. So during the movement of the sperm into the female reproductive tract, some changes takes place, and due to this, that sperm get converted into the functional sperm, or simply we can say capacitance is the phenomenon by which the sperm attains functional maturity. So capacitance is the phenomenon by which the sperms attains the functional maturity. Now the question is how the sperm attains the sexual or the functional maturity. For that, we should know the structure of the sperm. If we recall the structure of the sperm, then we have already seen that in the upper region of the sperm, that is the head region, there we have seen, if it is the head region, and here we have seen the acrosome is there. So on the membrane of the acrosome, here the deposition of some chemicals are there which are glycoproteins as well as sterols. So on the membrane of the acrosome region, in case of the sperm, there are the deposition of some chemicals, and these chemicals are basically the glycoproteins and the sterols. Now, when this sperm passes through the female genital tract, during that, in the female genital region, some chemicals are released, and these chemicals are having strong affinity for these glycoproteins and the sterols. So as these sperm passes through the female genital tract, these molecules, the glycoprotein molecules and the sterol molecules, they are being released, and these molecules, they combines with the chemicals produced in the female genital tract. And as a result of this, what happens, as the molecules are removed from here, the membrane of the acrosome, it becomes thinner. Now the membrane of the acrosome, it becomes thinner, and this is the way how the male gamete, that is the sperm, it becomes functional. So we have discussed, first point we have discussed is the removal of glycoprotein and sterols. Glycoproteins and sterols which are present on the membrane of the acrosome. How it has happened, we have discussed. The second important point which help in the capacitance is the intake of calcium ions. As these molecules are removed from here, now the acrosomal membrane, it allows the entry of the calcium ion inside it, and because of the entry of the calcium ion inside it, the membrane becomes thinner and thinner, and now the sperm becomes active. So in the first step we have seen during the arrival of the sperm, that how the movement of the sperm takes place and how the sperm becomes functional. After that, we have to discuss the next step, that we will discuss in the next video. Thank you.